Hi, Steve Harrison here, and if you're watching this, I've got to believe it's because you have a dream, something you want to achieve, whether it's to grow your business, grow your health, grow your relationships. And with me is the author of a great book, A Shortcut to Success, Bob Huttinga. Bob, welcome.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to have you.
Well, it's good to see you again.
You know, I just think that we've talked a little bit getting ready for this interview about success. There's so many people out there, so many different authors and speakers and experts. And yet I know you were saying you really feel like there's a gap in all the other books out there. What's the missing piece that a lot of people are missing?
Well, one of the things that happens is people have these mental, emotional blocks that keep them held back. And of all the books that I've read, nobody really addresses that. And these blocks, they come from our past, our memories. And I'll give you an example.
Now, they do tell, in fairness, they'll talk about blocks.
Yeah, but they don't tell you how to get rid of those blocks.
Okay.
But here's an example of a block. When I was 5, one of the kids in our neighborhood got kidnapped. And my mother said, "Aren't we lucky we're poor? You'll never get kidnapped." Now, when you're 5 years old, that's very comforting. But when you're 30 years old and trying to make a living and develop some wealth, that becomes a block. Because every time you start to make money, your brain goes, well, what about my kids? So those kinds of things are what hold people back.
That's a great example.
So the techniques are things like emotional release letter writing, where you write a letter to your mother, in my case, my mother, and explain to her, what's going on. And then at the end of that, there's some statements based on neurolinguistic programming that change how your brain remembers that incident. And once that change is made, then whenever the trigger gets tripped, it now has 2 options: the thing that really happened and the new information that you're programmed in.
Wow. Well, and you've had quite a life just helping people with their health and achieve success. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I've been a physician assistant for 40 years, and along the way I developed an interest in natural medicine. So I became quite an expert in homeopathy and herbs and hypnotherapy. So I became a hypnotist and learned how to coach people to do this reprogramming. So I did a lot of that in one-on-one situations and eventually decided that this is something people can do on their own with a little bit of coaching in a book or in a video course that we're currently putting together.
What's an example of something in your life where it was hard for you to get your mind around that you could achieve it, but you actually did? And it's kind of an example of what you're teaching.
Well, I used to have a terrible public speaking phobia.
Well, you've gotten over that.
Yeah, well, I use some of the techniques in hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming to eliminate that.
So if somebody's watching this and they're afraid of speaking or any kind of like public performance, that's just one small piece. What are some of the other, what's something else about success or achievement that's counterintuitive that most people just either don't know or maybe even go counter to what they think they got to do?
Well, one of the things that everybody's been taught is that you have to visualize and imagine your successful outcome. And so when people do this, most of the time, they visualize and imagine it's out there somewhere. It's going to happen sometime. But the real secret to this is that you have to think about it as if it's already completed. So if you have a goal to buy a new car, we've been taught that you have to visualize yourself driving a car. But what you really need to do is visualize yourself taking your car in for its 10,000-mile checkup, which means you already have it, you own it, and now you're taking care of it.
Nice. Oh, that's a very good distinction. Well, that's great. So tell us about the course and the book and just some of the benefits of taking advantage of the course that you're going to have and be available by the time people watch this.
The course is based on the book, Shortcut to Success. There's going to be 4 modules in the course. First is going to be like a general overview, And the second module works on those things from the past that we need to change. We call them mind viruses. And then the third section is on goal setting and clarifying those goals. See, many people have goals, but they're not real clear on what it is that they really, really want. And a goal can be general, or it can be specific, or it can be just a feeling. You know, if you want to have a new car, and you don't care what kind of car it is, you just want to feel good, or you want to feel secure having a new car that's very reliable, that's an important aspect of that goal. And then the fourth component is going to be thinking correctly about the future. And we teach people specifically what to imagine, when to imagine it, what kind of feeling you need to have with that.
Well, I remember when I was speaking with you on the phone, and you were telling me what you're doing, I thought, well, you should charge a lot more money for this. And you said, well, I don't want to charge a lot. Share why.
Well, I think this is something that needs to be in everybody's hands. And sometimes we price things out of the range of the people who really need it. I know for myself that poverty and low income has been an issue my whole life, and so there's always this feeling of I can't afford it. Well, that's a mind virus that got programmed into us mostly by our parents or grandparents. And so people who can't afford it, they need to learn how to get rid of these things.
Yeah.
So they can think about them and actually achieve those goals and outcomes.
Well, I think it's such a great example that you practice what you preach. You've been able to, raise yourself out of difficult circumstances, overcome your negative programming, as you'd say, and now be able to teach others. So thanks for joining me today.
Okay, very good.
And check out Bob's program and just take a look right here. Here's where you can get all the information that you need.